I'm Jewish. I was born Jewish. Since I was younger, well, 6.5 years of my life, I was raised in the States, in Los Angeles, actually. Until 87, August of 87. When I was 11, we returned back. And yeah, I lived my life here. But in the States, I wasn't really traditional. We would keep holidays and all that, but and kosher I tried, but only returning back to Israel and meeting my friends to be. I became even more so. I became religious. In a way, I would put the tefillin on the phylacteries. You guys know what they are? Yeah. Well, tefillin is in Deuteronomy 6, verse 4. It says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You should love your God with all your might and all your strength and all. And you should teach your children these words." Which words? "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You should love your God," and so on. And then it says, "These words, place them on the doorpost in your gates when you enter and exit." So that's the mezuzah. A scroll, an inside written by a scribe, Deuteronomy 6, verse 4 and a bit onwards, inside the case. Because it's a commandment, the Lord told us to. And then it says you should put these words close to your hide, bind them near your arms and between your eyes. So that's what we do. You have this box, black box, made out of leather, colored outside, and inside you have scrolls. And what we do, we put one around our arm, close to our heart, and then you put here like a shin, the reference of the Lord, Shaddai. And then you tie them on your fingers still with the shin of Shaddai. And then you put it between your eyes. Another one. So it's kind of like your physical and spiritual connection, to the Lord every morning, not including Shabbat and the holidays, because it's a commandment. I have to say, it made me feel so good. There's something that people did throughout time. I mean, even in Qumran, the site of the Dead Sea Scrolls, we found there the world's earliest tefillin, small ones, from more than 2,000 years ago. So that's what I did. But it all changed after joining the army. I joined the army in November of 94, and for a reason that I do not know, I have no intelligent answer for that, I left everything alone, aside. Whoever did the army know that every second in the morning counts, especially in training. But I just gave up on that and decided no more. And I finished the army after the 3 years and traveled after that to Asia for 6 months, just, putting my mindset to something else. Then after that I studied at the university. I studied to become a computer programmer. I did that but hated it, so I left it. And then I said, what am I going to do? I studied to become a kindergarten teacher, actually up north here. And I did that for about 3 years. I loved it, but the pay was bad, very bad. That's how they take care of our future, of our children. So I said, listen, I love this, but and I taught children from the age of 3 to 5. It was magical, really. And then I said, well, I need some more income if I want a family. So I said, I won't get help from here. So I left the north, and I made my way back to my parents' home. Feeling a bit like a failure, returning back at the age of, 26, 27. What am I going to do? And it's not like I haven't studied. My whole life I'm studying, but I haven't found my spot yet. And I remember after a week and a half, 2 weeks, I was reading the newspaper in the morning with my cup of coffee. And then I saw like an advertisement saying, become a tour guide in Israel. And I thought to myself, well, that's interesting. I mean, I know this is the Holy Land, but I never really see the buses or the tourists. Now, one thing I have to say, folks, that when the locals, they live their life, they go to work, they study, they go out in areas where the tourists are not. So we don't really in contact or see many of them. We see buses, but who knows who's on the bus. Anyway, they say, well, that's interesting. By the way, when I used to study or used to teach up north, every 2-3 weeks I would go to Jerusalem to visit my family, my parents. And every time I would pass by the Mount of Beatitudes, I would think to myself, that word Beatitude, that's a funny word. I wonder what lies there in the Mount of Beatitudes. I wonder if I'll ever visit that site. That's what I swear, that's what I told myself. And then I said, all right, I'll give it a shot. I called the school for tour guiding, and I said, hello, I want to ask for information. They said the course already started, not it's closed already. But I told them when. They told me, asked them when. They said a month ago. What are you teaching in Judaism? So I told them I know Judaism. I mean, if I'm interested in joining this course, I don't mind losing a month. Is it okay with you? They said, you know what? Come here, prepare a lecture for about 7 minutes about anything, and we'll see. So I went there and I did that, and I was in. I studied whatever I missed, and I have to say that was the most interesting studies of my life. I always told people that even if you don't want to be a tour guide, doing the course there open up your eyes to this land where we live in. And you do study archaeology, minorities, religion, history from different periods of time. It's great, really is great. And then during my studies, I met my wife, and we got married. And during studying the tour guiding, I thought to myself, I need to study another language as well. I mean, I have English, but everybody has English, some better, some less. So I studied, actually I taught myself the Indonesian language to guide Christian Indonesians, and that's how I entered. And then eventually later on, Sorel saw me at the border, and they told me, the local company here, come, and that's the biggest company in Israel, and they told me, come, we'll talk, and I went there, and the rest is history. But after I got married, my wife was pregnant with her first child, my daughter Ella, and in the second pregnancy, that would be already Nathaniel. And from the beginning, the doctor said that there was a problem. In the beginning, they said that the head is too big, and the kidney, the left kidney, thought it was Down syndrome, but then they said the head is alright, just the left kidney, maybe we should think about an abortion. And I thought, well, I know that you can live a healthy life with one kidney. Why are you saying this? We're kind of against abortions. So of course we changed the doctor, and the checkups were regularly. Every 3 weeks they did an ultrasound, and the situation wasn't getting better but worse. Eventually Nathaniel was born on the 5th of March 2011, and the doctors gave him antibiotics from the first day. Poor boy, just was born, you know, he had some food, some milk, and then right away antibiotics. So there won't be an infection in the kidney right away. And every 3 weeks ultrasound, the doctors did not know what was the problem. Either reflex, meaning it's blocked between the kidney to the urine sac, and then they have to cut and sew the pipe together, or the urine from the kidney is sent to the urine sac, and then it's pushed back up. Eventually, after doing the exams, after a while, they decided it was reflex. So what are they going to do? I mean, they're afraid that something's going to happen to the kidney if it's growing more and more, and maybe they need to do a surgery right away, either to open up the pipe or take the kidney out. And but the child was too gentle, so they waited, and antibiotics and ultrasound every 3 weeks. And you can imagine each parent that had a child that was sick, you know, were not in the best of moods. I continued working, guiding. Plus it was the beginning of my career, really. Then, then after that, I took an American missionary group on July that year, and that was toward the end of July. And they were here. They came to Nazareth to help the local Christians over there due to their bad situation. And they had plenty of time. They helped them in schools, painted schools, and helped in churches. But they also had time to tour around, and we did that. And they told me that they would like to pray with me. We should pray. And I thought to myself, listen, I'm not really into that, but I mean, if it's for my son, I don't mind. So we prayed day after day. They told me, you're going to see the Lord is the faithful one. The Lord is the Lord of healing. He's going to heal your son. And I just said, amen. I'm waiting for that to happen. And they left I'll give you the exact date, 16th of August. We went to the doctor, and the doctor said, listen, a miracle took place here. Your son is not 100% cured, but he's not in the bad situation that he was before. No need for any more antibiotics, and no need to think about surgery, and return back on the 16th of November. And I said, hallelujah, I mean, something's happening here. I can't believe it. And I continued guiding, and we were much more relaxed. And on October that year, I took an Australian group. And you guys know the Aussies, they're a bit weird, but good weird. Yeah? It's about 15 days tour. Every day at 3 o'clock they want to be at the hotel with a pint of beer on their table. And I said, alright, that works for me. And but they had plenty of time, and every day they took me and prayed and gave me their testimony, like an hour a day. And they told me, you're going to see, the Lord is going to heal your son totally. Because the tour was so long, we were about 8 nights away from home, 8-9 nights. And while we were up north, my parents took my wife and the children to a coffee shop, and the waitress, I was tired, she put the hot coffee in front of my baby boy, and he put his hand inside it. And his skin is so delicate, and it almost came out. And I wasn't there, so they rushed him to the hospital, and they put the cream, then bandages. They were supposed to return after 2 days to take him off and to put new cream. And after the 2 days when they returned, the nurse cut the bandages, wanted to put new ones, and she asked, are you sure it happened? Because she couldn't see anything. He was fully healed. And then continued on touring, and they told me, listen, your son is going to be healed, but when it happens, you're going to call and tell us, because they had to leave. Anyways. You could imagine the rest of the story. On the 16th of November, we went to the doctor, and the doctor said, listen, I don't want to see you anymore. Your son is fully healed. Yeah? Shalom and goodbye. Yeah. And then it hit me. I mean, it took a while. I had to realize what just happened. I had to go back and look at my life beforehand. Seeing the path that I took. Seeing the position that I was in. Understanding that the Lord tried to speak to me beforehand. He tried, he really did. Because when I started guiding, people said, you're a believer. I told them, no, I'm not a believer. They said, but you talk with passion. I said, really? I don't know. It's me guiding. I didn't pay attention to that. The Lord tried to speak to me, tried to open up my eyes, but I pushed him away for sure. I know that. But then the Lord chose and used the strongest tool of them all, our children. He used my child to open up my eyes, and it worked. It worked, and I started to believe. And looking back on my path, I understood what the Lord has done, the role that the Lord has for people, for this land these days. I didn't even know that there was a job being a tour guide. I really didn't. I didn't think that I'm going to end up here, but the Lord made that happen. It seemed like it was all coincidence, all by mistake, but it wasn't. I know that it wasn't. He brought me here to the middle of the earth to connect to Christians all over the world. But not only here, I go abroad to give lectures as well to those that are that are less fortunate to come here. Only 5% of the Christians really come here to the land. The rest cannot afford it. He put me here, and then after connecting me to this new place of mine, he turned me into a believer. And I have to say, it's not like I'm the guide or I'm the teacher and you're the students. We're all in the same boat. We're all understanding. We're all learning. It's not like all the time I'm opening the books. I am reading a few books at a time, almost all the time, just to get more knowledge, to be stronger with my faith and my words that leave my mouth. But I learn from everyone. I learn from people. I learn from pastors. I learn from your questions. We're all in the same boat, understanding and floating to the same direction. And the visions that people receive and give to me, I'm just trying to fit the puzzle, fit the parts together. So really, the Lord is good. The Lord is faithful. And the Lord got me. Really. That's my story, folks. That's my story.